Welcome to London, global powerhouse. It's a dynamic and exciting city. It's also home to some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs.
Last year, Britain created a record number of new businesses. London and the South East drove that growth, delivering 137,000 new startups. Closest to the capital was Birmingham, with 16,000 new businesses. It's a gap that needs to be closed. So what is London's formula for success, and what can other UK cities learn? I've been on the trail of some of London's top entrepreneurs to find out why they think the capital fosters so many new businesses.
What's it like to build and grow a business in London? Does it create a different type of entrepreneur?
It's a magnet for talent, so it attracts very ambitious, clever individuals who want to improve themselves. And it's highly competitive, there's massive choice, but I think that all drives quality, it drives innovation, and it drives wealth creation.
Right.
What I love about London at the moment is when I'm on a tube, when I'm sitting having a coffee, when I'm waiting for a meeting, I hear people talk about their business plan, or they're raising funds, or their next startup that they're about to work on. So what you see in London is because so many people are starting businesses, they're infecting others.
Actually, London's so good that I'm not leaving. I started my business and became an entrepreneur 4 years ago in the city. There's this real kind of hype of activity going on with entrepreneurship in the UK. The power of the kind of pack in terms of entrepreneurship and the creativity is really, I think, incredibly exciting.
I think London's one of the easiest places in the world to actually set up a business. There's very little red tape in the startup stage. And it's also a multicultural city that's very dynamic, and there's a real movement going on for entrepreneurship.
So London really does have a lot to offer startups, but how can the rest of the country capitalise on this growing entrepreneurial movement? Top economist Jim O'Neill gave new meaning to the terms bricks and mints for the business world, and he has some ideas.
So are Britain's cities underperforming, in your view?
The first reality is London is, in a global context, the only city of any real substance. You take the top 50 global cities, London's the only one that's in it, and probably many of the others that people here think are big, don't even get on the Richter scale.
Are there certain things that make cities disproportionately more successful?
One is having good connectivity. I mean that both in terms of physical infrastructure, but increasingly important digitally too. In this era where particularly there's all these new economies led by the BRICS being so influential, thinking of having direct contacts with these places is critical. Really good governance and leadership, and to have with it some boldness. There's no real ambition to think big. And then finally, we do have very geographically diverse universities. Can you find a way of incentivizing universities to encourage a lot more smart people that come from elsewhere to stay where they are when they've finished?
Are we too hung up on these kind of regional differences? Shouldn't we be making more of the London connection for British cities?
I think London's strength, by definition, is a virtue for the country. That's the sort of thing you've got to think about if you're really going to make a difference, because all these various socially justifiable initiatives of the past to subsidise special things in various parts of the north, they haven't worked, and it's because there's such compelling forces for young, educated people to kind of seek opportunities elsewhere. So unless you give them the opportunities there, it won't work.
Right now, Britain is the fastest growing economy in the G7, and London's driving it. There are 1,000 people every week that make their home here.
There is a lot to learn from London's success, and that infectious desire to start, grow and build businesses needs to spread. Make no mistake, London's calling.